Good morning, 5th grade. This is Monday, March 30th, and we are moving on to our next lesson, which is 10.5 in your math book. And I'm going to start on page 504. We're going to go through page 506 today. All right, let's look at that page. And these are, as you know, the more challenging problems in this whole chapter. So I want to talk about some of them with you and talk it through, and hopefully you can do the rest of them and do a good job on them. Okay, let's look at our example here. It says you have 4 cups of yellow paint. So you've got 4 cups of yellow paint here, and you have 3 cups of blue paint. So if you can imagine that, picture it in your head. You've got 4 cups of yellow paint, 4 cups of blue paint. And what do you get when you mix those two together? You get green paint. And let's look at how you make a batch of green paint. You use a 1/2 cup of yellow paint and 1/3 of a cup of blue paint. All right, so to break down a story problem, we want to look at what do we know? What did the problem tell us that we know? Well, we know that we have 4 cups of yellow paint, 3 cups of blue paint. We also know that to make a batch, you use a 1/2 cup of yellow and 1/3 cup of blue. Now the question is, how many batches of green paint can we make? That's what we need to find out. Well, let's look at how we're going to solve that. And let me scoot this up a little bit. All right, how are we going to solve that? Well, we have to figure out how many batches of yellow paint can we make and how many batches of blue paint can we make. And we're going to have to choose the lesser of those batches, because let's say we can make 10 batches of yellow, but we can make 15 batches of blue. Well, can we make 15 batches of green? No, because we don't have enough yellow. So we'd only be able to make 10 batches of green, because that's all we have of the yellow. So we're going to look at that lesser amount, and that's going to be our answer. Okay, so let's look at your example here. We're going to find the number of batches possible, which is going to equal the amount of yellow paint, which is 4 cups of paint, divided by how much we need for one batch, which is 1/2. So 4 divided by 1/2, and remember our keep, change, flip. So that's going to be 4/1 times, flip that, 2/1, which means how many batches can we make? We can make 8 batches of yellow. I'm going to put a little Y here because I like to do labeling, so I know what I've done. Okay, now let's figure out the blue. We have 3 cups of blue, and we're going to divide it by 1/3 of a cup to see how many of those we can make. You might can do this in your head, because 1/3, you might can do these in your head, but how many thirds are in 1 cup? Well, 3 are in 1 cup. Well, then how many would be in 3? 9. But let's look at it. 3 divided by 1/3 means 3/1 times, flip that, 3/1, which is 9. And that's blue. So we have enough yellow paint to make 8 batches. We have enough blue paint to make 9 batches. So how many batches of green paint can we make? Only 8, because we don't have enough to make the 9 batches. So you can make 8 batches of green paint, because 8, see right here, 8 is less than 9. So we can only make 8 batches of green paint. And number 1 here on the bottom says, explain why you choose the fewer number of batches. So why is it that we can only make 8 batches here? We just kind of explain that, but can you put that in your own words? Okay, the problems here, let's see if I wanted to go over anything with you. On your pages here, I do want to see the work, guys. I don't want you to just write an answer down if you're showing me these pages. If you are copying this onto a Google Doc, then I'm going to ask to see your work, because it's very important that we see these. Some of these are really challenging, and they're multi-stepped. Okay, look at number 6, for example. You make bows for gifts using 2/3 of a yard of ribbon for each bow. You have 4 feet of red ribbon, 5 feet of green ribbon. So you're going to have to end up converting feet to yards, right? So don't forget to do that. All right, go ahead and do your best on page 505 and 506 for this Monday. And oh, I did want to go over. I wanted to go over this example with you too. All right, let me erase this. Your example on page 506. Okay. The example says, a sponsor, let me turn that light on. There we go. A sponsor donates 10 cents to a charity for every quarter kilometer of a triathlon that an athlete competes. The athlete completes the entire triathlon. How much money does the sponsor donate? Well, what do we know? We know that the sponsor is going to give 10 cents for every quarter of a kilometer that this athlete completed, and he completed all of it. We also know how far he swam, how far he or she biked. We don't know if it's a he or she, and how far that person ran. Okay, so let's see here. What do we need to find out? We need to find out the total distance that this athlete completed, right? And this is what we have here. That we're going to have to add these 3 together. We're going to have to see how many quarter kilometers were in this total. We're going to have to divide it by 1/4 to see how many are in there. And then we're going to have to multiply that amount by 10 cents because they got 10 cents given for every quarter kilometer. All right, so we have added, well, they added for you. They added your numbers right here, and they came up with 113. And then they divided it by a quarter of a kilometer to see how many quarter kilometers are going to be in this 113. And then with that answer, you're going to multiply by 10 cents or 0.10. And remember, with order of operation, you can do this in any order from left to right because these are on equal footing. Please excuse my dear, which means they're on equal footing, and you have to go from left to right. So because they're equal, we're good. We have to start from the left. So let's look at this one together. Scoot it over. 113. I'm going to put a 1 under it, divided by 1/4. So I'm going to multiply by 4/1 because I keep, change, flip. All right, so I need to find out what 113 times 4 is. 12, 5, 4. So that is going to equal 452 quarter of kilometers that are in 113 kilometers. And then I'm going to multiply that by 10 cents. So my little shortcut here, I'm going to hang off that 0 on the end, just bring that 0 down, and then multiply. And then bring it over 2 places. Or as we've done, we've already learned this, that multiplying by 10 cents means you just bring your decimal over 1 place. So how much money did that sponsor donate to charity? $45.20. Okay, so you're going to need to do something like that, very similar to number 8. Do your best, take your time. Okay, bye guys.